Welcome back, guys. My name is Abel Garcia. I do apologize for the mess of screens. It is my fault today. But today I have my co-host, Drunken Senpai. Drunken, do you want to introduce our guest for today?
Yeah. Since you want to fuck up everything from the very beginning, like 2 minutes before we even go live, this is some bullshit. Today
I'm
we have.
sorry.
No, you're not. Today we have Relentless Bunny with us. How you doing there, Bunny?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me.
All right. And we also have Ardalan with us. Ardalan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
Since Abel wants to fuck up everything, this is just what we're gonna do now.
Can't even see the camera.
I had everything planned, and you do this.
You forgot to text me. You're half an hour ahead.
No, hold
This
up.
is on you.
Hold up. I told you like 3-4 hours ahead, and then you're just like, I'm about to go to work, and now you just pop in here like a minute before the stream starts, and then you're just like, I'm going to the lake. You're
Okay,
fired.
first of all, I'm joining the stream. You can't get mad at me for that, okay? Dude, you know I'm an idiot, so you should have reminded me half an hour in advance, because I was actually getting ready with my friends to go to the lake, and if I would have been reminded, I would have joined, and we would have had fixed cameras.
Anyway, since we're doing this while he's over in some kind of grocery store, now that I'm just gonna have to pop between the full article on screen to this because Abel. But anyway,
Yeah?
you fuck up everything. Anyway, apparently something else just happened here. What is happening today?
I don't know.
Oh, you started up the air. Okay, never mind. I'm just hearing way too much going on. But
Well, I'm looking at the screen right now.
yeah. Today, we're gonna be talking about.
So we're going to be talking about the FBI obtaining a Trump medical records tax information and the current search. Is that
No, I didn't
correct?
bring that up completely. The judge grants Trump's request for a special master to review materials seized from Mar-A-Lago. IRS
Well,
says
you got to remember, I'm late. I'm running late. I don't have all the information.
you never do. The IRS says it mistakenly made public data. Mistakenly made public data for about 120,000 taxpayers. It's a frightening situation there. And because Relentless Bunny is a DV advocate, she brought me some stats so we can talk about the increase of domestic violence since the pandemic happened. Got to skirt around language sometimes still here on YouTube. I don't know what's acceptable and what's not anymore.
Wait, I thought that was we were allowed to talk about that now on YouTube.
We can talk about masks not working. We can say that the jab is ineffective. But I don't know the rules anymore because they change constantly. What's up? But yeah, since Ava likes to fuck things up, let's just get into the first story here. I'm gonna pull
When
up.
don't I like to fuck things up? Come on, you know this.
I don't know. But this was updated on Monday, September 5th, which is today. From CNN here, which CNN is a horrible source of information for anything local. But it says a federal judge has granted former President Donald Trump's request to appoint a special master to review materials that the FBI seized from Mar-A-Lago last month. The decision from Trump's appointed district judge, Aileen Cannon, is a significant victory for the former president, who has rallied against Biden administration and Justice Department since the search was executed 4 weeks ago. As a function of plaintiff's former position as president of the United States, the stigma associated with the subject seizure is in league of its own, Cannon wrote. A future indictment based to any degree on property that ought to be returned would result in reputational harm, I can't speak, of a decidedly different order of magnitude. Cannon ordered a third-party attorney from outside the government be brought in to review the materials that were taken from Trump's home and resort in Florida. The order also halts the Justice Department from continuing its review of the materials seized from Mar-a-Lago pending completion of special master's review of further court order. I'm going to pause here for a second. Do y'all remember? Did anybody see the actual redacted affidavit?
Yes.
I remember you showing that.
Yeah, the craziness behind that, where everything's taken away as far as that goes, and the only thing we know is they went in there looking for magazine, newspaper articles, and
Wasn't it like
pictures and stuff.
75% redacted? And most of the things were saying officer safety is why they couldn't reveal it.
Yeah, but they let the Supreme Court justices almost get killed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But that whole thing, as far as that goes, they took his passports and everything like that, and in that they said that they were classified documents that weren't filed correctly. They were strewn everywhere and everything like that. Didn't they go in March and pull some of this information, or not March? What's it? January, wasn't it? Where they went in after they had subpoenaed to grab some of these classified documents. That happened, right? I'm not losing my mind.
No, you're losing your mind. You're going
I
crazy.
remember something about earlier this year. They had gone to Mar-A-Lago to kind of set up and make sure that any documents he did take were properly stored. Because I can't remember the full story about that, but it had to do something with like there's some type of procedure that when a president does take privileged material with them, they still have to abide by certain guidelines to have it stored and properly. And they did actually I think it was the FBI actually did go there and actually checked on those documents then and determined everything was fine.
Right. But they said they told him that he had to secure the room better than that. And Trump did tell them to throw a lock on the door. Do what you got to do. Make it secure, whatever. I'll just, y'all do your thing. Let me ask you a question. If you go in there searching everything and making sure what's in there supposed to be there, throw around paperwork, and then all of a sudden you lock the door, do you think they would have let that man go back in there to organize or to throw papers around and mix up shit? Or would he have been kept locked out of a room in his own damn house? Quiet now.
Are you asking me? Because I'm slightly drunk.
I'm asking all of y'all. I mean, they said
Well,
everything was...
I'm taking your name for today. I'm slightly drunk.
Well, the drunken able is not a thing. But... No, but I mean... It's ludicrous to think, they were saying, okay, none of this was filed away or anything like that. Y'all went in there. Y'all searched that. Y'all fucked it up. Y'all padlocked the room, and then you're going to go in there and say, oh, well, nothing was filed correctly? And somehow that's a big deal because Trump did it? You expect me to believe that man was allowed to go in there and throw papers around the room after you had locked the door? That makes no sense.
No. Not for a second.
Now go ahead.
I was just saying, there's no way. Because, I mean, it's everything. If you take into account everything they've tried to say about him, it's all out of character of the way Trump actually presents himself. Every single bit of it.
I mean, he is a narcissistic asshole thinking that everybody loves him, but I don't see the man just doing things like that, And then they were just like, oh, well, there was a moving truck outside his house and things like, okay, so there's a moving truck. Oh, apparently boxes were moved. Well, who told you that? The news? Oh, the lying sons of bitches who lied about everything for the past 6-7 years told you Russia collusion, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, we lied about that. Everything that they've literally lied about to your face and then laughed as they had to admit they lied about it. And you're going to sit there and you're going to pull that shit? I mean, that makes no sense, man. It really doesn't.
I think the part that really made sense was when they said he had these nuclear codes. He's been out of office for 18 months, right?
Yeah.
And you don't think that those codes don't change frequently?
The gold codes that are inside the nuclear football, they change daily. Now, there's a backup code that changes monthly, and there's a presidential code that changes every single time the president, there's a different president in office. So if anybody were to use those codes, we know something was fucked up immediately.
Right.
Any other thing about nuclear documents and everything, we could Google ourselves. So what the fuck are you talking about with that?
Well, one side caveat about that, though. Bill Clinton did lose the codes for like a month in his dry cleaning. We didn't find out about that for a very long time.
You're just writing codes on a Post-it note and shoving it in your coat pouch? Thank you.
Do y'all remember that little picture that they had where apparently there was like handwritten notes that were supposed to look like Trump's handwriting in a toilet?
Yes, I do remember that.
I'm sorry, repeat that again? What the fuck?
Yeah, go ahead.
Supposedly he was flushing documents down the toilet or some shit. So somebody had actually like taken a picture of what they claimed was either handwritten notes or memos from Trump that he had ripped up and was flushing down the toilet.
Yes, and the picture looked like it came from like the bathroom in a studio apartment, because there's no way in fuck that would have been from a toilet inside the White House. The public toilets look better than that shit.
It probably came from Hunter's iPhone in one of the little crack motels that he was at.
I believe that. It was a Hunter.
I would believe that. I mean, if that were a picture from something like that, I would believe that. Other than I would believe these like Home Depot toilets, apparently in this picture with these notes. I mean, none of it makes any fucking sense, and it's all become so ridiculously stupid at this point.
I don't know the fanciest toilets to get, but I would imagine that Mar-A-Lago and all of the other places that he owns have fancy toilets.
This motherfucker has a gold toilet at his home.
Exactly. So,
I mean, if you painted it gold, I may believe that a little bit more.
Wait, I thought he had a gold toilet in his plane.
He also had it in his tower too in New York.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure he has more than one.
But you want me to believe? You want me to believe these Home Depot toilets are at Mar-A-Lago or the White House or wherever the fuck? No, come on, stop. That plus the fact that you're going to sit there and tell me, I mean, in that picture, you could literally see the walls, like a wall on the side and a wall behind the toilet. You're going to tell me those walls are that close to a fucking presidential toilet that if anybody ran up in the bathroom while he was taking a shit to kill him, like those walls are going to be that close to where he can't be defended? That makes
right.
sense. I'm going to be honest. Trump, being the former president and being as egotistical as he is, as a New Yorker billionaire or whatever he is, I expect him to have gold toilet so he can take the biggest he wants in a gold toilet. Whatever he wants to do in a gold toilet. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
The thing with him is he's a narcissist, and there has to be, when you are that successful in business, there has to be that element of narcissism and ego. But the thing I think that sets him apart, and I'm not like a huge Trumper or anything like that, he has integrity. Like, his actions and his words pretty much always align. Like, when he made a promise to the people, he kept it.
As best as he could.
As best as he could. I mean, nobody's perfect, but that was really
fair. He was being attacked from every side of the media.
Exactly. And the things that he did do that were so good, the getting rid of MS-13, is that what it's called? Okay. Like, everything he did with that, everything he did to open people's eyes to the issues of human trafficking. And it just got stuffed down and ridiculed or silenced. And people didn't see that. I didn't know a lot of it until after the fact.
Right.
I didn't learn a lot about what good he really did, what good he did for the LGBTQ community. I mean, he's been one of the bigger supporters of gay marriage.
I mean, he was the first president. Yeah, he was the first.
Okay, we're gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, he was the first president to be openly supportive of gay marriage, even before he went into the office. Now, there is a lot you can criticize this man.
Not even their Saint Obama was pro LGBT when he first ran for office.
No, but there is a lot you can criticize the man for. You know,
even Biden.
The missiles in Syria when he first took office. You know, hiring fucking John Bolton, like that was the dumbest fucking thing ever. That, you know, people don't realize they say the MAGA movement and everything like that. It's the real reason why people think it's a cult following behind this man isn't because everybody's all about him and worshiping him like a god or anything like that. It's about the fact that he actually said what the government was actually doing. It wasn't a roundabout kind of situation, you know. He told us we're leaving troops in what was it? Saudi Arabia to guard the oil. We got troops here to guard the poppy fields. We're doing this, but we're pulling all our troops out everywhere else. He literally just straight up told you what the hell was going on, you know. And everybody's just like, this is the first president who's saying the quiet part out loud. What the fuck? And it woke a lot of people up.
And it scares his opponents.
Yes.
Because they bank on secrecy.
Yeah.
To continue their power. To continue to have power.
Secrecy and ignorance of, you know, the everyday American.
You got to keep them stupid, man. Keep them voting. It's just like, I don't know about y'all, but I never, ever thought in my life I would rather say I want Jen Psaki as our press secretary over the one we have now. I'd rather have circle back, and we'll come back to that at a later point, other than I'm not going to comment. And no, we don't, don't ask that question. Don't ask that question.
Random numbers, like the Corn Pops created 10,000 million new jobs. That's 10 million. Do you know the population of the world isn't even that big? How is that even possible? What? What kind of fucking bullshit math is that? We're just making shit up now. That's what we do. Is make shit up. 10,000 million.
White House press secretary has to be the easiest job in government because you can just go up there, you don't answer any questions, and say whatever bullshit you want to.
Right?
My son do a better job. He's 12 with severe. He would up there and talk to you about fucking Pokemon and Roblox, and would be more effective than 10,000 million. We don't.
It is funny, but this should scare everybody. That the fact that this is allowed to happen here in the United States, it's scary, but you can't help but laugh at the stupidity, man. But I mean, this is what everybody follows, dude. This is how they get their information. And
I'm done laughing. I'm just crying at this point. Drunk.
You have to laugh, because if not, I'd be locked up already if I didn't laugh at this shit.
Oh my God, yes. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like the role of the press secretary is supposed to be the one position that's supposed to be like giving as much transparent answers as the administration allows them to give to reporters. And we're not getting that. We're not getting anywhere close to that.
We've never gotten anything from this administration that is transparent.
Dude, there is a 17-minute clip on YouTube of, since she has been the press secretary, of every time she's just said, we're not going to comment. 17 fucking minute clip, and it's like 30, 40, 50 times. And this bitch is just like, answers a question. We're not commenting. No, we're not going to talk about that. No.
At this point, I'd rather have circle back Saki.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. At least she actually, okay, we'll circle back to that at a later date, but here's what I got right now. This bitch is like, nah, no, you can sit down. No. Shut up, Peter Ducey. God
right.
damn.
Oh, but those circle back and Ducey, those were the best exchanges in the history of the White House. I'm sorry,
I loved it.
But
I'm surprised they never came out as a couple.
Actually, you know who the interactions I love the most from a press secretary and a reporter? Jim Acosta and Kayleigh McEnany.
Oh my God.
Every time he opened his mouth, she would flip that book and just be like, bitch, here it is. And I'm just like, thank you, please. That's what we need.
That's what I loved about her. She always had little markers in the binder. So as soon as they asked the question, she was flipping straight to there and had an answer for them.
Exactly.
Every single time.
Y'all ever watch Scandal? You probably didn't watch Scandal. Olivia Pope.
Why did she leave again?
But she was
because Trump left office and Biden didn't want her.
No, I meant Saki.
Oh, I don't. No, wasn't she supposed to go to MSNBC or some shit like that?
She took some job at some news media. Hadn't seen her since, though.
Like, that was literally a demotion. But what were you saying?
After she got, what, and then was recovering and really grateful to be boosted.
Okay, I just saw an update. She's a contributor to MSNBC.
Yeah, like I said, it was a demotion. It's like Taylor Lorenz. She was like the top there at Washington Post, and then all of a sudden that libs a TikTok shit, and now she's like the tech reporter or some shit. She got a demotion.
She posted on Twitter?
Oh yeah, dude. Hold on. Let's see if we can bring that shit up real quick. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is fucking hilarious.
She is so salty over all that shit too.
Going back to the article though, real quick, they're talking about appointing this special master, and they have until Friday to submit to the court each side three recommendations. So first, I'm really interested to see who they're each going to suggest. That is interesting. But I started thinking, wouldn't it almost behoove him to pick someone who is sort of in opposition, not completely on his side? If he's so transparent and he has nothing to hide, someone who even doesn't agree with him but practices fair jurisprudence would still see that.
Oh yeah.
So, someone that leans more center would be like perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But
I'm absolutely fascinated. I can't wait to see who they're going to appoint, because I hope it's someone in the center and maybe a little more left leaning. Because that will show you exactly who he is.
we're going to get back to that here in a second. I got to show you guys this. This is fucking hilarious. Apparently, Taylor Lorenz now has a TikTok account. And this is the stupidest thing I have ever heard this woman on camera say. And that's saying a lot. But check this shit out.
If I may say, I never knew what she really looked like, and I thought this was like some random ass chick here on Twitter when I saw this. And then I looked at the Taylor.
This is hilarious, y'all. Just listen to this shit. Yeah.
She literally
Wow.
Exactly. And that's what the fuck I was talking about. That's what, oh my God. The whole Libs of TikTok debacle, a couple weeks before that, she was on camera crying her eyes out about how she was bullied for being a woman. Then she goes on there and doxes the creator of Libs of TikTok. Then she goes back for the Depp Heard trial, and then she's like, well, I reached out to this person and this person because they were making money off of this, and every single one of them were like, I never heard a word from this bitch. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Then she gets demoted.
I'll say her DMs lives on TikTok or lives TikTok posted it.
Dude, you are cutting out too much. No.
Either lives of TikTok or Taylor posted their DMs between both of them. Taylor wanted a comment and lives of TikTok would not answer it because she wanted some answers herself. Did you see that or no?
No, I didn't see that at all.
I'm gonna have to find it out. Show it to you.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that shit up because this ancient fucking dinosaur of a woman, apparently, I'm gonna keep. We all like to say that because she gets all pissy about her age. Yeah, she's pushing in her 60s. Okay, he left. Good. All right, so let's go back. Finally, cameras are gonna work, guys. All right. No, but she was all pissy about her age and things like that. So I just wanted to highlight that because that shit is fucking hilarious. That she has zero self-awareness about all of her shit, and she's got beef with the reporters that are doing the exact same stupid shit she is.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And this is a
Hypocrisy
woman
doesn't exist in their dictionary.
Right. This is a woman that is hired by Washington Post that is owned by Jeff Bezos, but yet y'all have a problem with Kiwi Farms. By the way, they took down that website because everybody was pressuring them.
I saw that. They cited dangerous, activities and individuals and such.
Right. And okay, apparently Abel tried to come back. Okay. Fuck it.
Nope.
Here we go.
Okay, is my camera back?
You got some kind of connection going. Yeah, this is how it always goes, Art. This is a thing. We cannot get an episode going worth of fuck.
Here for it.
I just posted the chat for the link for what I was talking about Taylor Loren.
Okay, let me. Okay, so see. Let me bring that up real quick too, and we'll get back to that here in a second. I know we got sidetracked hard here.
Well, we always get sidetracked. Be lucky we aren't talking about butt plugs today.
No.
And I just saw the
absolutely. I'm gonna have to explain that to these two here in a second as well. Now that you,
I can explain real quick.
Brought that shit up, but we got Libs of TikTok posted on Twitter here. It says Washington Post doesn't care if the person who called in a bomb threat to a children's hospital is caught. They don't care to investigate elective surgeries being done on kids. They are more concerned with smearing me. And little screenshots from text. Hey, Tay, hope you're staying safe in the middle of this COVID pandemic. We know COVID affects the elderly, so I'm having you in mind and prayers. Regarding your question about me being responsible for threats of violence, the reality is quite the opposite. As you reported in April, Seth Dillon and I working together now, he actually offered a $20,000 cash reward for information leading to the scumbag who called in the bomb threat. We 100% condemn any acts of threats of violence. And this is the woman behind Libs of TikTok. Says, hi, Cheo, one more thing. Do you have a 16-year-old child who is seeking a gender-affirming hysterectomy? If not, why did you say that the children's hospital operator? Why did you say that to the children's hospital operator? So no, she doesn't give a shit about this bomb threat at a fucking hospital. She just wants to know about a little 16-year-old who wants to have a hysterectomy.
She wants to continue to push the narrative and not actually care about anybody's personal safety.
Right.
And this bitch still has a job, by the way.
The narrative gets more views.
Well, to be fair, Taylor is being supported by the mainstream media.
Look, she...
So wait, when do I get to tell our guests about the butt plugs?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just not going to make my last comment because, yeah. Go ahead.
So just to make a long story short, somehow we got into a conversation that a couple streams ago about butt plugs for a drunken senpai, and somehow that was our most viewed section of all of our videos, and that went for about 40 minutes. And we're also going to be doing that for our OnlyFans.
No!
That we're going to be seeing drunken senpai
No, the fuck we're not.
cat-made outfit and a rainbow butt plug.
It's not going to happen. Maybe in your own delusional mind, it's not going to happen.
To be fair, are you really surprised that I'm delusional? I'm a former transgender.
You're doing it to yourself. I'm not doing shit. But anyway, no, what had actually happened
We're going to do the butt plugs and the OnlyFans. Do not tempt us.
We're not going to do that. You can do that. You can put butt plugs in.
Your wife already agreed to this. She's getting 80% of the funds.
It's not happening. Straight up not happening. No butt plugs in my butt. It's not happening.
It's going to happen.
No. But anyway, what had actually happened? We were talking to 1776 and somebody else. I forget exactly who it was, but somehow Abel, for some reason, behind the scenes, Abel was looking up butt plugs, and we got to talking about that. And with the way 1776 is, he just went, it spiraled out of control for 40 minutes. I was trying to bring the whole conversation back, and I can never do it. But for 40 minutes, it was joke after joke about butt plugs and turned into a cat's made outfit with those furry little butt plugs. And somehow we started talking about OnlyFans with that. Yeah. And apparently,
it just snowballed.
They have bunny tails on the end, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do it for Drunken. His wife already agreed to this.
No, she did not. You're making shit up, you delusional ass. But
again,
in the video,
you surprised I'm delusional? I'm a former transgender.
In the video itself, like, I was looking at the analytics to that. It got like 20, 30 views. It was the how do you feel about abortion part 2? It's just guys talking about it. But I watched that and it got like 35 views, and I was like, okay, in just a couple of days, okay, fine, whatever. And I stopped watching the analytics on that, and we went to the next week where we were going to do another episode, and I looked at the analytics, and this son of a bitch has almost reached like 200 views at that point. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? So I look at the analytics, and I can tell where people had just like started the episode because it was this huge spike in the watch time and then fell off. And you could see these spikes as people were searching for it. And then for that 40-minute segment of just that, you could see this huge spike in analytics. It tops off like everybody watches all 40 minutes and then it starts dropping off again. I'm just like, this is a thing.
Look, people want to see our OnlyFans account with you and a butt plug.
It's not gonna happen. They want to see you with a butt plug. No, I don't want to see it. I don't.
You know what? Let's ask our guest. Would
No.
you rather see me or Drunken on our OnlyFans for the cat-made outfit and butt plugs?
I'm going to circle back.
Circling back. This ain't a thing. Yeah, but all right, we're pulling this back. Stop talking about butt plugs, Abel.
Give the viewers what they want.
We've
what
only
they
got
want.
3 damn sir.
Likes.
We've only got
Viewers what they
3.
want.
All right,
They
we're
want
going back.
you in a furry
We're going-
butt plug. Cat-made outfit.
We're going back. Calm yourself down. Don't get
Fine, I
excited.
quit.
Don't get excited.
You know I can't get excited. It
Enjoy-
don't work anymore after being a transgender.
Enjoy the little beach and stop talking about butt plugs.
I'm at the lake.
Like, whatever.
It's a lake.
Where were we? Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah.
We're talking about butt plugs.
The classification review and intelligence assessments being conducted in the Office of Director of National Intelligence, however, will be allowed to continue. Both sides have until Friday to nominate special masters. This is what Relentless was saying there. Candidates in the specific duties. Trump lawyers argued that a special master was needed because they don't trust the department, the Justice Department, to fairly identify privileged materials that would need to be excluded from the ongoing criminal probe. I kind of agree. Trump blasted the Justice Department and the seizure at his rally in Pennsylvania this weekend. He said the egregious abuse of the law is going to produce a backlash, the likes of which nobody has ever seen before, he said. These same exact people at the Justice and the FBI, these same exact people, along with outside scum, are at it again with a horrific raid on my home. They just go on, and they have to be stopped. However, Cannon wrote that Trump had not proven that his constitutional rights were disregarded. I'm going to stop there. Does anybody know what the Fourth Amendment is?
No unreasonable search and seizures.
Right. Yep. So if you're taking his passports, if you're taking newspapers and magazines and articles and photos and things like that,
never reasonable search and seizure of his property.
That's illegal search and seizure. So
unreasonable.
That is illegal.
Yep.
You can't take personal property unless it's involved in the investigation. Now, magazines, newspapers, photos, things like that are not classified documents, which is what you were supposed to run up in there and get. Those were not classified documents. So the fact that they took that goes against the Fourth Amendment. The fact that he cannot prove that shit? No. The fact that he cannot prove that shit is a fucking lie, CNN. Anybody with any half a fucking brain knows.
Mind if I quickly interrupt, Drunken?
Go ahead.
I do apologize, guys, but I'm gonna have to head out. I do appreciate you guys watching this episode. Please behave with Drunken R2, a great guest, alright? Have a great day, guys.
Take it easy. I'll see you again very soon.
And I'll send you all our OnlyFans butt plugs link later, Drunken. I've already made it.
Not gonna happen.
I'll be waiting.
You're gonna be waiting with bated breath forever.
Yeah.
All right, so let me go ahead and get back.
Well, I mean, if you go back and look at the list that they released that they took from his residence, there's like 10 articles of clothing that they also took as well. I don't understand how that can fall under the classification of, sensitive documents.
How about
at all.
Search.
Oh, yeah. Barron Trump's room being tossed too? Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, the whole Ivanka Trump's closet and wardrobe. Apparently, they put on a drag show for themselves for the 9.5 hours they were there. A lot of... I mean, I have to agree with him with this shit. The shit needs to be shut down. It just needs to go. Because everything that... I'm going to go ahead and say everything that they took was everything that proved Russia collusion, the hoax behind that, and Hillary Clinton being involved in all that. I'm going to go with that theory because that seems the most reasonable, especially with all the red flags and everything we've seen within the FBI and the fact that the same people that investigated the Russia collusion hoax are the same people that ran up in there for that search warrant. I cannot sit there and say that I'm behind the FBI any fucking more after everything that I've seen for the past at least 5 years from them,
Right.
Remember what I said to you yesterday when you sent me that itemized list of everything? I'm like, why are they taking miscellaneous gifts and things like that? Like in each box, it said something. You know what I'm talking about? How it said miscellaneous gift item or whatever. I'm like, how is that even relevant?
Right.
It's not at all. It has absolutely nothing to do with the scope of the investigation.
I mean, if they're saying that he has these classified documents that he shouldn't have them. Why are they taking gifts and magazine articles or anything like that? It has nothing to do with anything. Hi, babe.
No, none of it does. It really doesn't. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say, FBI be damned. They want to defund police. There's a difference between duly elected and these fuckers at the FBI who are never held accountable to anything they've ever done.
Right.
So you want to defund the police? Okay, let's start from the top down. Let's start from FBI, CIA, all these other motherfuckers who have literally been involved in red flag after red flag. The Whitmer kidnapping case, where two-thirds of the people were FBI or FBI informant, and then they want to pin it on the other 4 people that were just like, hey, yeah, okay, let's do that. How the fuck can you allow that to happen anymore?
And you've got the director of the FBI saying people who work for the FBI should be treated with respect and we have integrity. I'm like, but do you even understand what having integrity entails and what that means? Because you can say that you're for justice and truth and transparency, but when you are acting in a completely opposite way, you lose any credibility of having any kind of integrity.
Oh, definitely, yes.
In the people. How are we supposed to believe anything that comes up? They sit on Hunter Biden's laptop for how long? They don't investigate after the iPhone. They aren't investigating things that are serious felonies. Multiple felonies are found on those devices. And nothing. And just imagine if that was Trump's kids.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, absolutely.
They'd rather put on a drag show instead of investigate this kind of shit. Yeah, we know where your priorities lie, FBI.
And now you have a lot of anonymous whistleblowers coming out, and they're filing lawsuits about it. I just read an article yesterday that there are a lot of people who are leaving the FBI now, and they've named counsel, and they're like, this is what's actually going on, and we don't want to be a part of, this is not what we signed up for.
Yeah, Jim Jordan said that there were 14 FBI whistleblowers that are ready to come out and talk, and everybody's just like, no, there's not. And then all of a sudden, this shit starts coming out in the news. Yeah, y'all have lost the narrative. You've lost control of it all, and you're desperately trying to keep some kind of attention on Trump. And why? I mean, the DNC actually pumped money into Trump-supported candidates for them to win their primaries because they thought it would be an easy victory. What do you have to stand on for it to be an easy victory?
They have no platform except Orange Man Bad. I mean, that's literally the only thing they've stood on for the last 6 years.
Yeah. They've got nothing, and now we're sending, what is it, globally, over $100 billion have now gone to Ukraine, and IRS agent, 87,000 new IRS agents here at home. We're struggling for energy, but yet the main proponent of mass inflation, the answer to that is to print more money to pump into green energy.
Right. Yep. Somewhere. Trying to actually sit there and look at this objectively will literally make your mind short circuit. I mean, I've tried so many times to look at this from their side and go, okay, that makes sense if I was, hitting the head with a baseball bat like 50 times. I could see that.
Right. Maybe that's a stretch still.
Morning, can someone from the other side just explain why they are thinking the way that they think? Why are they still supporting Corn Pop? Why are they still lining up for the over and over and over again, given everything that has come out? Why? explain it to me logically, and they can't. All they say, orange man.
Yeah, that's all they have.
That's
literally. I've tried to have conversations with people on Twitter about without naming Trump, without naming anything about Trump or his family. Please tell me why Biden is better than he is. And the only thing I always get is, oh, well, I don't like Biden either. It's like, okay, so criticize him. Oh, but I can't. Why not? You just said you don't like him. Well, I don't like him because he's not Trump. It's like, hold on, wait a second. So you're telling me that you voted for Biden because he's not Trump, but you don't like Biden either. So why the fuck did you even vote in the first place? It makes no sense.
Because Orange Man bad. That's it. That's the only reason. Mm-hmm. It's you voted for this country to be used and abused. You voted for every single American to be bent over a barrel and fucked in the ass, and now we all have to argue about who's the better rapist. Why? Because Orange Man bad. That's the only answer. That's the only thing y'all got. It drives me nuts because, look, I hate him too. I really do. He's an asshole, narcissistic. He needs to shut the fuck up once in a while. But he does speak the truth, and he tried like hell to do good. And look at the state we're in now. I mean, mass inflation through the fucking roof. It's 40% more for everything, all because Trump was supposedly racist. Come on, fuck on.
Mm-hmm. And sexist. Don't forget that. Don't forget all the that marched around with the kitties on their heads, screaming that he was taking their rights away, and he hadn't even been inaugurated yet. But they're like storming the cities with kitties on their heads, screaming how he was taking away their rights. At the time that he was inaugurated, I was a single mom working full time and was able to buy my own house. My rights had not been taken away. I did not feel violated by this man. I did not. In fact, I felt empowered. I was better financially and with every other aspect of my life. And he hadn't even taken office yet. It was all happening right at the same time. It was in November. But there were all these lib women saying, but he said,
oh, you're cutting in and out there trying to whisper.
He said,
we don't
grab
care.
her by, or whatever the heck he supposedly said. And all of a sudden that meant he hated.
Hold on. That whole thing, he did say you got to grab him by the pussy. But then he also said, and they'll let you do it if you're rich. Which is 100% fucking true. Women throw themselves at rich men. Yep. Literally, they will strip down naked in the middle of town, fucking Times Square. If you're rich and you say, I want to see you naked. Mm-hmm. So sit there and talk about that kind of shit. It's hypocritical, but it's incredibly disingenuously stupid to sit there and be all pissy about that when you're literally going around fucking anybody and everybody for free drinks or to smoke a blunt or whatever drug you want. Come the fuck on with it. Stop.
New wave feminism perpetuates victimhood.
Oh, yeah.
They are perpetual victims, and that is a choice that they have made.
And more than likely, it is actually them that perpetuated that crime to be, I'm a victim for. Like, 3 times in my life, I have been accused of sexual assault. They were all consensual acts, all 3 of them. And then later on, it's like, well, if you don't give me this money or you don't do this for me, I'm going to tell the cops you raped me. Number 1, 2 of them were through text. You think I didn't screenshot the shit out of that immediately? How fucking stupid can you be? One of them, I recorded the call because she had made those accusations 2 other times on a phone call. The other time, I recorded it and I told her straight up, even though I'm in a one-party consent state, I recorded that phone call. So you're going to sit there and tell me that, oh, we got to believe all women.
No, you don't.
I got
I'm an advocate, and I'll tell you.
multiple examples for myself and other people as to why no, absolutely not.
The Me Too movement destroyed feminism. Like the true meaning of feminism, Me Too destroyed it.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people out there with actual real who are really victims of rape, and I understand that, and I get that. But the reason why this whole thing has come to a whole point of I don't believe you is because of all the false allegations. I mean, fuck. We were talking about the Depp Heard thing. Look that situation. She beat the shit out of Johnny Depp, but yet she said she was the victim.
It's Chicken Little. The sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, but nothing's actually happened. You can only scream that so many times, and then you lose all credibility. And when you have all of these women who are regretting their sexual promiscuity in the past, and then they need to feel
vindicated,
exactly, by it, so they scream rape, and it's destroying people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And social media coddles victims. They fucking coddle them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I will say though, that like the one good thing that did come out of the Me Too movement was the whole Harvey Weinstein thing. But I think once that got so publicized, there's that niche group of feminists that just absolutely just have all the disdain for men. Like they just hate men just because we're men.
Yep.
And I think they tried to cash in on that whole Me Too movement when the whole Harvey Weinstein thing got publicized so much. Mm-hmm. And that's what ran it into the ground and just made feminism into this toxic subculture that exists in society now.
No, and I mean, do y'all know in UK it's actually sexual assault to say a man is bald?
No.
It's true. Look it up. If you call a man in the workplace, bald, now that is sexual assault.
What?
I'm not even playing. Look that up. It is fucking hilarious. But yeah, if you called a man bald in the workplace, it's sexual assault in the United Kingdom. But UK's fucked anyway. I mean, they get arrested for telling jokes. So, yeah.
Oh my god, it does. Holy shit, I just looked it up. Oh my god.
Yeah. Let's see. For Bunny there.
Call a man bald and it's sexual.
It's sexual harassment. I'm sorry, not sexual assault. Calling a man bald is sexual harassment. Ah, you bitch. Calling a man bald is sexual-related harassment. Employees, tribunal records, or results, whatever. But yeah, in the UK, calling a man bald is now sexual harassment in the UK. I'm not even playing.
Wow.
Is that man not wearing pants in that picture?
I don't know. But it's taking the photo sexual harassment then? Or is that pornography?
Or is pornography?
I mean, yeah, right.
So there is literal pornography in your article. What? Okay.
Hang on a second. Let me take my hat off. Let me get this removed from YouTube now. Look at this.
Sexually harassing you.
I'm being sexually harassed right now.
The stupidity of this isn't even in America anymore. That's in the UK. So the stupidity of humankind as a whole has just gone beyond incredible at this point.
It's the coddling is what it is. It's just the coddling. God.
When I work with victims, when they come to me and they're, I'm a victim of domestic violence,
Right.
like, are you still alive right now? And well, yeah. I'm like, then you're not a victim.
Physically. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you are still alive, you are not a victim.
What?
And changing that vernacular with victims and helping them to see that they have survived it and that they're moving past it helps them to heal. And being a victim and having that mentality is a choice that keeps you down. I know, because I stayed there for a long time. I didn't understand that for a long time.
Okay. I get what you're saying now. Okay.
And keeping in that mentality, like, oh, woe is me, poor me, coddle me, does nothing to help you heal.
Yes.
And this entire culture wants victims because they want to keep people down.
And this is going to be a little bit of a topic a little bit later on, but I do want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Why is it women stay in abusive relationships? They have every reason to get out, every opportunity to get out. Why do they stay?
Okay. Statistically, it takes a woman an average
Shit, sorry, I should have muted. My bad.
It takes a woman an average of 7 times to successfully leave her abuser if she ever does. There's a multitude of ways that people can be abused. Obviously, physically, emotionally, sexually. But a big one is financial abuse. And depriving your victim of being able to get a job, cutting her off from any kind of support system, not letting her have her own money. And so over time, with the inundation of being emotionally abused and kept down like you're worthless, you can't do anything, you'd be nothing without me, that financial deprivation prevents you from successfully leaving. It's kind of like Stockholm syndrome. And it's, people who haven't lived it, it's very difficult to really explain why. But there is that part of you that does love that person. And as sick as that is, there is a side of you that does remember those good things, because they do the honeymoon period, that whole cycle of abuse where there's the whirlwind romance in the beginning. And they show you this side of them that isn't true, but they do it to reel you in. And for me, I held on to that for a long time. You hold on to an idea. The actions are different, but you hold on to this idea that, well, he's a really good person because that's how he was in the beginning. And you start to make excuses and blame yourself. Like, I've been out of an abusive relationship for a while now, and I'm in a very healthy and loving and committed relationship, but I'm still crazy about stuff because it's been so ingrained in me that I'm not good enough. And I struggle with it. And, I have a very patient man who understands that.
Right.
But when you are in it, like who I was 10 years ago, when I was in it, was a very different person. I had no voice. There was not, like, I was a shell of a human being. And it takes a lot. And and that's why I talk about the importance of moving from being a victim to a survivor, because had I never made that move and that transition and understanding even just that small change in vernacular, I would never have been able to heal or find my voice. And, you know, my first husband, I think I left him 5 or 6 times. And it wasn't until I had my son and I wanted better for my son that I was able to go and be gone and done.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're just mixing up the whole story here. Let's just go off into this real quick though. Like I wanted to ask this because, you know, I've been drinking even before the show started. I just wanted to ask that before I forgot. But now you were talking about you being a victim of domestic violence, and the whole thought of, well, they're still a good person even though they put their hands on you, or they don't let you have money or anything like that. I'm going to be honest. I don't understand that way of thinking as far as that goes. Just because they sweet talk you or say something you like doesn't make them a good person. So what kept you there in that situation?
Hope that maybe I didn't make a mistake and really fall in love with a monster. Denial. Attributing his bad actions to drinking or things that he went through and wanting to save him and help him to be better.
Now I feel like an asshole because I'm drinking, and that's part of the problem for you.
I'm drinking at all. Like that, just because you drink doesn't mean you're an abusive asshole. That's a fact. I mean,
no, if anything, my wife abuses me. So not physically, but just yeah. All right.
There was one. This guy I knew in high school. And I knew him in high school and had such a crush on him, whatever. And we got together in our 30s, in our early 30s. And I held on to that, like, exuberant, really charismatic guy that I knew in high school and who kind of swept me off my feet when we first started dating. And I held on to that. I'm like, he can't be all bad. And maybe that's just the optimist in me or wanting to see the good in people. Like I saw him as very wounded. And I honestly, I still do. But I know that he's a toxic individual. I know he's a toxic human being. And he was extremely abusive emotionally. He was terrible. He never put his hands on me, which I am grateful for. But the emotional damage that's still a big part of me recovering and me being able to have a healthy relationship with my fiance is I struggle with that daily and just not feeling good enough. But the thing about it is when you decide you are done, you are really done.
Yeah.
And and that's the thing. It's almost like an alcoholic or an addict having to reach their rock bottom before they can get better. It's the same thing with victims of abuse. You have to get so bad that you have to be done. And everybody else can say, well, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. Why don't you go? But in your mind, there's something that's still holding on to that hope that things will change. And once I reached my bottom with him, I was done. I was done. And that was
good for
it.
you.
But, I've been working with she's now a survivor. Met her in July, sorry. And it was her first time trying to leave. And she did. She just moved back home this past weekend with her kids. She had been married for 11 years. She's young. She hasn't known anybody else. She hasn't worked in years. So financially, she was destitute. But once she made the choice to go and she was really done, and the kind of abuse that he put her through is probably one of the worst cases I've ever seen. And I've been doing this as a trained advocate since 2016. And it's one of the worst. But she was done. And she's gone and she's safe. And
well, that's good.
That doesn't happen often. That's a big win. I've had a lot of women I've helped get into shelters to get away, and they go back. And it would frustrate me at first. But now they know that if they need me, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And but it has to be the victim's choice. Like, it can't be something that is imposed.
No, because if it's forced on them, they'll always go back.
Exactly.
I get it. And let her know that she's got people pulling for her that don't even know her. And I'm one of them. But let me ask you a question, Art, on this whole subject here. Being a guy yourself, why do you think a man who's going through the same thing would be fed up and run from the whole situation on the drop of a dime, even if it means he's homeless, even if it means he's got nothing? Why do you think a man would leave quicker than a woman will?
Oh, let me think about that. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe that they would feel like they have a little bit more of a way of controlling the situation themselves. I don't know. I was in a very similar situation once with an ex-girlfriend that was extremely mentally abusive. Like, she was constantly always putting me down. I stayed with her for, like a year and a half. And it was like 4 months into the relationship that the stuff started. The only reason I only stayed with her for that long is because I had nowhere else to literally go. Because, like, the house we were renting together wasn't in both of our names. So I couldn't just, like, ask her to leave, and she couldn't just, like, throw me out. I wanted to leave. Absolutely. I think it was, like, maybe 6 months into it, I finally said, I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. I'm sick of the way I'm always depressed. I'm sick of the way she's always yelling at me every single time she walked in the fucking door. I wanted to leave myself, but I was incapable of doing it simply because, like I said, I had nowhere to go. So for a man to want to, that's in a similar situation, that leaves sooner, I would say that they would just, it's more embarrassing for a man to admit that they're in a situation like that, because society's like supposed to, when it comes to society, they're like, oh, well, men are the abusers. Men are the ones that are, that cause all the problems of everything. But when in fact, it actually happens far more to men than it does to women. It's just not ever made public. And I mean, this, like, my situation, that was like, I think I was 20, I was 19 and 20 when I was with her.
To back off of that, since COVID, the domestic violence shelter that I'm getting involved with locally, and getting training to be a court advocate and stuff, they had to basically shut down their shelter.
Right.
Because of it. But what they started doing is actually putting victims and their families up in hotels. What they saw, because it was mostly women at that shelter and their children, they saw a spike, a huge spike in male victims coming forward because they then had a place to go. They would put them up in a room so they could get what they needed to get out and get safe and get back on their feet. But I think a lot with men, it does go completely underreported or unreported in a lot of cases because there's this societal thing like men should be able to handle it in a way, like that machismo and that masculinity, and they don't talk about really, really toxic women that are out there who are terrible to their partners, to their spouses.
Well, that's true. That is definitely true.
And there's
Absolutely.
I think with men, you know, I obviously can't understand what it's like to be a man, but pride and shame keeps you quiet. Shame keeps any victim quiet. But I think with men, there's that expectation of you should be able to handle this. You should be able to get out and take care of it. And society has put that there, that unrealistic expectation. And it prevents them from actually being able to come forward and feel safe talking about it because, oh, you would let her do that to you? Like, you're a man, buck up. Like, grow a pair. Handle it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not fair. It's not fair to men. There are a lot of men out there who have absolutely been destroyed by women. Absolutely destroyed.
And I am one of those people. But let's just go back to this. I want you all to see this. This comes from councilonCJ.org. New analysis shows that 8% increase in domestic violence incidents following pandemic stay-at-home orders. Bunny wanted me to kind of bring that up. A report released today by National Commission of COVID-19 Criminal Justice shows that domestic violence incidents in the U.S. increased by 8.1 following the imposition of the lockdown orders during the 2020 pandemic. Now, me and my wife have been together this entire time throughout the pandemic, and I made the joke that she abuses me. The whole thing is literally we have this game that we play where we go through the grocery stores and out in public and everything. We just say the most horrible shit to each other just to get people's reactions. We're not really abusive to each other in any way. I love my wife to death. She's great. But I make the joke that she abuses me because, she doesn't feed me or things like that. It's nothing like that. And I wanted to kind of clear that up because we're getting into some heavier shit here. And I made a joke about it. It's not trying to make light of the situation. But yeah. Following the relationship I had before my wife, she was a very abusive woman mentally, and she tried physically. Like, she would throw things at me. She would try to hit me with shoes, with anything ever. And it came to a point to where I stayed with her for as long as I did because I loved her daughter. Her daughter has never really had a stable father figure in her life, and her daughter was a wonderful human being. The child is just amazing as hell. The first time I ever went over to her place, her kid was just balled up on the floor under a blanket, just peeking out of the blanket, looking at me for the first hour and a half. And, giving her time to come around. I just kind of ignored her, made sure I looked at her. She knew I saw her and everything, but I ignored her till she came out of the blanket. And when she came out, it was just like I had always been there in her life. And it was kind of a little bit of a weird situation to me, but getting the love and affection from a child who's literally doesn't know you, it kind of pulls on a man's heartstrings, you know. But when we started having real problems and we just kind of ended things, I even told her, I was just like, look, I honestly don't give a shit about you. I mean, you left me for your boss because he makes more money than I do. And that was your only reason. I still want to be in the child's life because that child has no real father figure. And she turned that around to literally try to paint me as a pedophile because I loved her child. So much so that three people, I was in Walmart at one point, and three people walked up to me. Three people I've never seen in my life walked up to me, and they wanted to literally just jump me and beat my ass because they thought I was a pedophile, bringing up that whole situation until I showed them the text where she said, well, I just said that because I was mad at you. Yeah. And even going back through all that, I'm pretty sure, like, if she was asked about it right now, she would still paint me as the bad guy. She would still paint me as the one because, yeah, we did have arguments. You literally left me for a man that's 21 years older than me. Hell, he was legally able to drink when you were fucking born, but yet you want to call me a pedophile? Because I cared about your child. I wanted to be in your child's life to give her some kind of father figure and a emotional development other than the fact that she's always going to be the victim. And not to get into too much, but to grow up like the whore your mother was, And
that goes back to the whole, they talk about the cycle of abuse within the abusive relationship, right? But it's even bigger than that because abuse is a learned behavior.
Yes.
And, a lot of courts will say, if you've, been charged with domestic violence, to go to anger management classes. That doesn't do anything. There's no efficacy with anger management. The things that they have found that work the best with helping abusers is cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's a thought process that has to be changed. And I would say even so far as using something like dialectical behavioral therapy would even work too, because you're learning to just observe the thought without judgment and not allowing it to impact your actions. But if you've grown up witnessing abuse, or if you've grown up watching your mother constantly be abused and she just takes it over and over and over again, and you're a little boy, the likelihood of you growing up and doing the very same thing that was done to your mother is incredibly high, because that's what you've learned about how to treat women. It's not there are a lot of cases where, a little boy will see his mother being abused and want to be her protector and will go the other way. But there are even more cases of, how little girls fall in love with guys like their dad,
Right.
And that's how the same thing goes with little boys when they see their mother being treated a certain way and her accepting that treatment and not leaving that kind of environment and protecting them both. That's what becomes acceptable to them. They internalize that, whether they realize it or not. And maybe they don't want to do it, but that's why the whole importance of changing that thought process and recognizing that that is not a normal pattern of behavior. And go ahead.
I can say that, that goes both ways as well. With my parents, my father he was physically there. Okay. He was never really emotionally there, just physically and financially. He'd go to work, come home, sit in front of the TV. Dinner time came. He didn't eat his dinner and go back to the TV. My mother was an incredibly violent woman. Like, she loved throwing glass ashtrays because she loved the sound that it made when it broke. I remember as a little kid, I came down to eat breakfast, and I was sitting at the table. My mother farted. I laughed about it because I was like 5, 6 years old. Well, she turns around and just pops me on the head with the cast iron skillet that she had just used to finish cooking the eggs with. So it's hot as fuck. There was a point to where she had literally thrown things at us. Skillets thrown at us, stuck in the wall. At one point in time, my mother literally picked up the kitchen table, threw it at my sister, that kind of situation. I mean, it goes both ways.
Sure.
But you are right with the whole growing up thinking that's a thing for that person. And I kind of felt the same way growing up. And it wasn't until I started hanging out with my friends and I noticed that my family is dysfunctional. Fuck. That I realized that there was a problem and something needed to change because I couldn't be. I don't mean to make it sound bad for my father. He's passed away, but I didn't want to be the pussy bitch my dad was, to just take the abuse and just to do everything that he did. And I didn't find out till later in life, like 2-3 years before he died, that the reason that happened was my mother had always threatened him. If you ever said anything or did anything, then I'm going to call the cops and have you arrested on domestic violence or anything like that, which my dad was never that kind of person. But it was always that threat, and it was always that kept him in line for her. So it does go both ways with that. It's not just women with that, though.
Oh, no. And then that children play a big part in why victims don't leave.
I can understand that, especially if it's your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of time I could see how it's also like, well, I really don't want to, rip my kids away from their father, or, vice versa, even sometimes.
Like, oh, they're not hurting the kids. It's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll stay and take the violence because he's not hurting my children.
And it isn't.
And that happens a lot.
Yes, it does. And it isn't until the fact that the child gets a little bit older. And in my case, like I said, seeing my friends' families and the way they interacted, knowing that there's something seriously wrong with my family, sometimes that doesn't even click for the kids themselves.
Right.
They think, you got a great family. You guys had this huge fight and everybody's apologizing to each other. Nobody got hurt. Nobody had anything thrown at them. Sometimes that still doesn't even click to the kids themselves, and they wind up in that same cycle that they grew up in because they know no different.
Exactly.
And that's all it is they don't know any different. They didn't see anything different. It never clicked to them. But the ones that do click wind up being, like me, the black sheep of the family.
Have you ever known people who continue to get into abusive relationships?
All the time, and most of them are women, yes.
Yep.
You just hit the nail on the head for exactly why that is. You become so accustomed to the chaos that anything that is not chaotic, anything that does not involve love bombing, gaslighting, big abusive pop, and then the honeymoon, that cycle becomes the norm. And so anything that's outside of that like a normal healthy relationship is fucking weird and uncomfortable. And you don't want to be a part of it because you're so used to everything being so tumultuous. Everything is up and down and back and forth, and you don't know left from right and black from white, and you have no idea. You have no idea. And when you get that calm, it is really uncomfortable. And a lot of women, a lot of former victims, survivors, they don't know what to do with that. And they will cut bait. They're done. And and a lot of that, I think, is what happens. And that winds up damaging really good men because they meet a girl and she's great and everything is awesome. And he's doing everything right and in a healthy way. And then all of a sudden, she ghosts. She's gone. And he's left like, fuck. Like, I didn't even fucking do anything.
Right.
And then he winds up getting damaged and fucked up in the head. Like, we're doing it to each other.
Oh, we definitely are.
We're not allowing ourselves to heal and really get through the damage that's been done. And then we carry it into the next relationship. And if you don't heal that part of you that is so unbelievably broken, you're just going to go break everything that's in front of you. Including up.
And that is you have a great point with that as far as that goes. It's just like relationship after relationship, nobody wants to heal. It's just like it in a breakup situation, the first person to get into another relationship is the first person to win in that kind of situation. And it's a stupid ass way of thinking because you're only getting into another relationship to get over another person. However, the problem that caused that has never been fixed nor addressed in any way, shape, or form. Now, even when I got together with my wife, like there was one point where she was literally going to leave me because I couldn't stop interacting with my ex, but her child was there. It was her child that kept me there because I wanted that child so desperately not to be like her mother. Because she had a heart of gold. I haven't seen the girl in a while now, but she had a heart of gold. She loved everybody. She wanted everybody happy and smiling and just loving at all times. And to let that go, to not nurture that, to let that go was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And I mean that wholeheartedly. If the little girl, I say she's little now, she's a teenager at this point. She ain't so little. But if she came back and started wanting to talk to me again, if her mother wasn't around, I probably would. Until she started showing the signs of the same shit her mother did. And I know that would be the case. Because she knows no different. I can't have that kind of thing back in my life. Yeah, I could be the outlet to help somebody change their ways. But I can't put my wife back through that. You know what I'm saying? So it would be kind of difficult in that situation for me to go back and be something to a child again for that reason. But I can't put my wife through any of that and be okay with it because I know she would tell me it would be okay, but deep down inside, I know it would bother her, So some things have to be a lost cause. They really do. And I don't mean to make that sound bad, but there are some people that cannot be reached. And it's because they want it. Like you said, it's that cycle. I don't understand for the life of me, especially with women. And I don't understand for the life of me why women come across these good men. They're always asking, well, why can't I find somebody like my best friend? Well, you got your best friend right there. Why can't you find somebody like him? He's right there in front of your fucking face. But what, you don't want to ruin that? Well, don't be the piece of shit. I mean, that's all you got to do. You treat him with respect. He treats you with respect. But yet you want to find that in somebody else? I'll never understand that way of thinking as far as that goes. Men are included too, but women are the vast majority of that.
Oh, yeah. Women will put a dude in a friend zone so fast.
Mm-hmm.
We're famous for that. I mean, we'll put you in the friend zone, and that's where you stay. Yeah. And it tends to be with the really good guys that you should want to be with that get friend zoned. 100%. I've done it. I have completely. I'll admit it. And, like my fiance, like, he's my best friend,
As it should be.
And, yeah. And I mean, Art knows it. Like, I love him and I'm grateful for him. And I'm grateful for him because he is the first one to actually ever take care of my heart and, like, care about my heart. And I've never had that. I didn't have that with my father, and I didn't have that with any other relationship I've ever been in. He genuinely wants me to be okay. And he allows me to be me. And I've not had that. I've always been told, you shouldn't say that, don't use your voice, or your voice doesn't matter, or whatever. And there's that respect. Like, I respect him and he respects me. And I think mutual respect for your partner, that has to be the bedrock. You have to respect someone and be given respect in return. And when you are in an abusive relationship, there is no respect. There is absolutely no honoring that other person. And it's like a commodity to you. The thing about this article is they say that there was a spike, that 8.1% or whatever they said it was. There's something about that bothers me. I don't think that there was a spike. It was always there. And
It's just being reported now.
It's just now being reported. And I think that it's probably underreported.
Yeah,
I look at any number like that, and I add probably 5 to 6% to that. If 1 in 3 women are victims of abuse, that's not an uptick of 8 point whatever percent. No. It's way higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
Numbers, I'm not a mathematician, but that doesn't add up.
No, it definitely doesn't.
And
all right, Art, you've been a little bit quiet here. I know you got a story for us. Lay it on us, man.
It's just, like, when it comes to the same thing, the 8.1%, I believe it's because you had people locked down, forced to stay at the home with their abuser for far longer than what they normally do. Let's say, like, it's a man abusing a woman. His job gets shut down because of the lockdowns and everything. So now he's at home. He's pissed off because he's not working. pissed off he's not making any money. He's already abusive in some way, whether it's mentally, physically, whatever. Maybe it never had been noticed before by either, neighbors, friends, family members, anything of the sort. But now that he's home all the time, she has far less control because he's there all the time. At least maybe when he was at work, she was able to actually, leave the house, go to the grocery store, do anything to at least get some type of reprieve from the abuse. Even 8%, I feel like it should just be way higher than that. It really should.
Yeah.
Because it even came down to like all of the, the sexual abuse and everything of children. There was a major spike of that as well that came out of the pandemic. And it's like, there wasn't a spike. It's just, it was happening. You just became aware of it because now the abusers are stuck in one place with their victim and they have nothing else to do. And so they're going to take it out on the person that's there. Yeah, so I wholeheartedly agree with everything about that, except for the fact that, honestly, I would say closer to 12% increase.
Yeah. You see it on social media every day.
Yeah.
You see videos every single day. They are everywhere.
But then again, the ones on social media that try to paint their life as perfect and, those influencers and everything like that, they gotta be the most abused. Because there ain't no way in hell anybody's life is 100% that perfect. They're getting everything they want without something in the background that you don't see happening,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to have makeup caked on so heavily. Now, I understand there are some women who cannot put on makeup. There are women who need that to literally transform. I've seen the videos of just, I don't mean to make it sound bad, but dog ugly women becoming the hottest thing fucking walking the face of the earth with makeup.
False advertising.
No, there was actually a story years ago where a man had actually sued his woman because she had so much elective surgery, cosmetic surgery to make her look hot that when his kids came out ugly, he sued her for false advertisement and won.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. Let me see if I can bring that up because that shit, I saw that and I was just like, that's fucking hilarious.
God. Every time I think I've settled with society and I think I've heard everything.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Chinese man sues wife for being ugly, wins $120,000. Like that picture right there. That is what she really looked like. She had so much cosmetic surgery to look like the woman he married. The kids came out ugly, and he sues her for false advertisement and won $120,000.
Wow.
I hate it.
Oh.
And people be like, okay, well, that was China, but no, this shit was actually in the UK. He was a Chinese man living in the United Kingdom and won that shit. That was, October 26th of 2012. It was that long ago.
God. Wow.
But yeah, I just thought that'd be a little bit of hilarity to throw into that. But I mean, you guys are right with that, though. It's the problem, though, really in men's world, and I'm sure Art can attest to this, is nobody gives a shit about a man's feelings at all. Nobody gives a damn because literally we are only meant to provide. If you don't have the money, if you can't provide, if you can't be a protector, if you can't be a provider, you ain't shit. And the whole providing, protecting kind of situation literally only plays out to the woman themselves. You know, the way I provide and I protect my wife, maybe Bunny would find abusive. You know, I provide. The way we do our bills is she takes care of some bills, I take care of some bills. We have our own separate accounts. If she needs money because she runs a little bit low or something like that, I'll give that to her. Same thing that she gives me. But all of our bills are all of our bills. You know, the house is taken care of. Anything after that is on you. You know, the way I protect my wife now, I'm the biggest softy pushover when it comes to her. Like, I can't help it. She's my wife. I love her to death, you know. But if anybody else were to say some of the stupid, fucked up shit that I say to her, you're going to be missing some teeth, you know. And we've had arguments. In the almost 5 years that I've been with my wife, I can still count the amount of fights we've had on one hand and still have fingers left over. And all of those fights have been because of her job. Now, I will admit that I have put her job at risk because one of her older bosses, he was a big piece of shit. And at one point in time, you know, she literally was going through anxiety attack after anxiety attack, and she was wanting to check herself into a mental hospital before that. And we had actually gone up there, but they were closed at that point in time, and came back. And I had literally called her boss, who was texting constantly. She's off the clock. He's texting group text after group text after, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I literally called his ass up, and I was in more words than this. I said, motherfucker, if you don't fucking stop, I swear to God, I'm going to go to Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to hunt your ass down, and we're going to have some fucking words. And it's not going to be words. It's going to be, let's see if you're strong enough to wake up from a fucking coma. But for other women, they may find that abusive, you know, because I'm literally going out of my way. I'm literally putting my life on the line to protect her. Yet this also puts her job at risk because I said something to her boss that's causing the problem in her life. There are women out there that would find that abusive as hell. So, I mean, men as a whole we're only looked at as a bank account. We're only looked at as a way for women to talk all the shit and hide behind. And if we can't do that, the moment we turn around and say, you did this is your fault, you got to deal with it, we're no longer the protector, we're no longer a man. And that's an issue. It really is. But men don't speak up about abuse in their life. Men don't say these things, especially with, you know, rape victims. Males can be raped too. Let's stop playing stupid ass games. They can be raped too. Men don't speak up because no one gives a shit. And that's the truth behind it.
Men have feelings. They're not supposed to share their feelings. And
no, because the moment we do, we're pussy ass bitches.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And, you know, we are more traditional. It sounds kind of like how you and your wife are, you know. I'm very grateful that he is not like, get a job, like do what you love. And what I love to do is be an advocate. And so I'm actually going out and volunteering to be an advocate with the hopes that it turns into a job. But, you know, we're a little more traditional in our male-female role, I guess. I try to keep good at it, but I'm learning because it's just, I was told by my abuser that I'm not a good woman. and that I can't do things like I wasn't a good cook. I wasn't good at cleaning. I wasn't enough. And so I just kind of gave up in a lot of respects. And but I'm learning, and he's patient with me, and he helps me, and I appreciate that. I pray for the person who would ever actually hurt me in real life, because they're going to need prayers when they meet Jesus. I mean, that man, you know this, like, he's not going to let a damn thing happen to me. And I'm okay
to that man.
I'm fine with that, because I've never actually been protected by a man, ever. You know, when I told my father that I was being abused, he said, "Marriage is hard, deal with it."
Which means he was abused himself.
Which means he abused me. And didn't. Well, he did. But that's another story for another time. But this man, I mean, if a man so much as looked at me sideways and said something under his breath, like, no, that's foolish. And he's safe, and I don't mind. I actually, I guess, I'm far more traditional in how I see it as the male-female role. He's supportive of me going out and doing what I want to do. Wholeheartedly. But since he's at work 12 hours a day, you know, there's that expectation, well, if you're not at work, like, take care of the house. And that's fucking fair.
Yeah. On both sides.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously stuff that I don't do. I don't mow the yard, because I should not ever. And plus there are snakes, and no, just no.
That's the man's job there. Mow the yard.
Mow the yard, get bit by the snakes, get your ass handed to you by a damn snake. Got you. Okay.
He's like happy when he sees them. I hide, because I'm a pussy. But I like those traditional gender roles.
Well, I get what you're saying with that, yeah.
But whatever works for each couple is what works for them. You know, what works for me might not work for some of my friends. What works for us might not work for Art. But that's okay. It's right. As long as it's healthy and it's not demanded. You know, if you're asking and you're respecting someone, and it's not like, I demand that you do this, you know, nobody's going to want to fucking do anything.
Oh, no.
If you're making these ridiculous demands and have these unrealistic expectations for your partner, you know, but I don't think that's abusive what you guys have going on, because Mike is the same.
Well, I appreciate that. But
and I don't think it's abusive.
There are some women who literally would, but they can fuck right off. Anyway, Art, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think men are treated the way they are? Like, we can't show emotion. We're a bank account. We have literally no rights within family courts or anything like that. Why do you think men are treated the way they are in relationships with this?
Well, I mean, if you go back to like how society has developed, I mean, men started out as the hunter-gatherers. I mean, we were the ones that always went out in the hunting parties in the mornings. Then we would come back in the evenings with whatever we, caught. And then as society and technology developed to where we started having households, well, men were the ones that went to war. We were the ones that were always the first to go fight. So we were always the first ones that were supposed to, same thing with like law enforcement. Men were the very first ones to be in law enforcement. We're supposed to be the protectors of society because we're always been given that role all throughout civilization, from the hunter-gatherers to the war parties to sheriffs, deputies, to soldiers, airmen, and even to now. I mean, it's like, generally, it's just society's just accepted the role that the man was always the breadwinner.
Okay.
And I mean, this now I believe that's a little outdated because, like,
Equality.
me and my girlfriend. Well, me and my girlfriend. I mean, I don't have a college education. She's now just a few semesters away from getting a bachelor's degree. And she's also a school teacher. So it's like, in some ways, I do feel a little intimidated by her because of that, because she's accomplished more. But then the history that I have that I can fall back on to that, well, yeah, I do have my military service and all that I'm, still extremely proud of and grateful for and all that. But I do believe that the whole, the woman's not. I had a friend that actually he was one of those that believed if he ever ended up with a woman that made more money than him, he would leave her immediately. Every single time. I'm not like that. If my girlfriend's going to make $10,000-$15,000 more a year than me, amazing, awesome, great. Right. That just means the bills are definitely going to be taken care of. Doesn't bother me one single bit.
My wife makes $1.32 more an hour than I do. I don't give a shit. Simply, I'm not gonna say I give a shit simply because of this. I don't give a shit for multiple reasons. Number one, that should never be an issue in there, even if she made $5 more an hour. The fact that if I cared about that would mean I literally hold myself as less of a man. But she makes all that, and it literally equals out. Actually, take home pay. She brings home less because she actually pays for the insurance. But to hold that up is just like the mainstay of, and I know it's a societal thing, but to hold that up as the mainstay of a relationship where the man has to be the breadwinner of a family it's fucking ridiculous. If the woman can do better, let her do better, because it's only going to make you do better. And if it plays into your emotions that she makes more than you, and that's something for you, well, guess what? You can use that as a springboard to make you do better. So why the hell are you going to, she makes more than me, I can't be that. I can't be in that relationship. No. She would be everything. Motherfucker, use that as a reason to make you better and move the fuck on. Stop being a bitch about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, and a lot of that comes from the friend of mine that's that way, he came from a very traditional household. Very traditional. His mother actually never worked the entire time he was growing up. She was always the one that was at home. She was always the one that she'd have dinner ready at 6 o'clock every single night, Monday through Friday. Always. It was just one of those super traditional, old-fashioned homes that you would have like back in the 40s, the 50s.
God, if I could have that now.
Back before it started to require more than one person in the household working. But, right. I mean, that's just the way his family's always been, from his grandparents, his great-grandparents, and for some reason, he just adopted that lifestyle for himself as well. There was many times he was just absolutely crazy about some chick he was dating. Just absolutely his head over heels. As long as she wasn't working. But then as soon as she got a job and started making money, it was like, okay, well, now he's lost interest in her because he doesn't want her to have her own money. Because he feels like I had a conversation with him before about it, and he's like, well, it just makes me feel like I'm less of a male if she's paying some of the bills and I'm not helping her with it. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you're the one paying for everything. Just be glad that she's taking the initiative to go get a job and is actually wanting to better both your circumstances. Because at the same coin, he would be complaining about, oh shit, we gotta pay the car note. I don't know how we're gonna pay the car note this month and blah blah blah. And it's like, let her fucking get a goddamn job. I mean, come on. The solution's right there. But for some reason, you just don't want to accept it. And I mean, I have literally gone back and forth with him until I just turned blue in the face, and it just never did anything. So it's like I finally just got to the point. It's like, look, I gave you all the advice I can give you. I'm out. You're just gonna have to deal with it on your own and just deal with your own problems, because I just literally cannot do it anymore.
That's some of the best advice, or some of the best actions you could take with something like that, man. I mean, it really is. If they're not going to better themselves just because they don't want their woman to do better, you're not much of a man then at that point. I mean, and I say this with all due respect for everybody out there that kind of feels the same way with him, but you were not much of a man because you were not lifting your woman up. You were not trying to help her better herself. You were keeping her down. You were keeping her, buzzword, oppressed, because she wants to do better. She wants to help out. She wants to be there. She wants these things for you, but because of your stupid ass ideologies and these I'm a man, alpha male type situation, you can still be an alpha male if your woman is paying the fucking bills.
Yep.
Stop being fucking stupid. But it's a societal pressure that the man has to provide. The man has to do this. The man has to do that. There is more to being a man than a bank account and physical protection. There's a lot more to being a man than that.
See, also on the flip side of that as well, like going back to me and my girlfriend, I met her when she had she had only been in college for 2 years, I think. We've been together for 6 years now. It'll be 6 years this December. And pretty much the entire time that we've been together, she's been in college. There's been a few years where she's been in college and she's also had a job at the same time, doing both. But last year, she finally got the opportunity to actually get a teaching job. And it's like the first time she's ever been given an opportunity like that. Because before, all she's ever worked was like fast food or retail, jobs of that sort. She finally got that teaching job, and she got to the point to where she was feeling overwhelmed because she was still going, trying to get her bachelor's degree and all that. So I told her, I was like, look, if you want to take a couple of semesters off, just do it. And then when I told her that, she was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. I wanted to bring it up to you, but I was just too scared. I was like, why? Said, because, well, I've always been in college. I've always been working towards a degree the whole time we've been together. And I was just afraid to tell you that I felt like I needed to take a break. I was like, don't ever feel like that. I mean, hell, at this point, she's literally 3 semesters away from getting her bachelor's. She took 2 semesters off last year. Now she's actually working and going back to school to finish out her bachelor's. And I'm like, look, whatever you need, let me know. I will do whatever homework for you or anything you absolutely need me to do, because I do want you to get that bachelor's degree because you're so fucking close to getting it. There's no sense in you just throwing away the last 3 semesters from getting this degree that's going to open up so many doors for you. And it's like, when I was in the military, I had every opportunity to go to college. And I just didn't do it because I was a lazy piece of shit and I was young and stupid. And just didn't give a damn about anything that was going on.
And that's always the way it is.
I threw all those opportunities away, and I'm like, look, you have the perfect opportunity to do it now. You have an associate's in criminal justice. You're getting your bachelor's in business. Just finish it out, And once you get done with it, you will feel so much better. And it's like, I have no time. I've told her, no time I ever felt intimidated that, oh, well, she's going to start making more money and then she's eventually going to leave me because I'm just not going to be good enough for her or anything. I said, that thought has never even once popped in my mind. Do I feel like I'm a little intimidated that you have a college degree and I don't? Yeah. But then I think back to the conversations we have, and my whole thought process is more reinforced of that degrees don't really equate intelligence. So
Absolutely not. There are a lot of people out there with major degrees, but are incredibly fucking stupid. Now, I live close to Redstone. I'll use this as an example. I live close to Redstone Arsenal. Okay, yeah, and I know a lot of bigwigs out there for different military contracting companies. We have a NASA base, a NASA establishment here. These motherfuckers are some of the most educated sons of bitches, but can't tell their left from their right. And I mean that with all respect, because even I have to do this to figure out my left from my right. I can't figure that shit out to save my life. I'm 36 fucking years old and I still have to use that trick. But these are the most sociably inept people. These are the most, like, common sense has gone out the window because they think way too fucking logically, because IQ is through the fucking roof. However, common sense don't come into play because to them, 2 plus 2, for us, 2 plus 2 equals 4. To them, 2 plus 2 equals 4.375678
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a point to that. But well, okay, let's move on to the little next topic here. I know this is going to be a hard segue because there's no way you can equate domestic violence and the bullshit between people into the IRS, other than the fact that we get butt fucked by them. But let's go ahead and roll into this one here. From weku.org. It says the IRS says it mistakenly made public data for about 120,000 taxpayers. This is going to be an issue, and we're going to get into why here in a bit. It says private information involving about 120,000 taxpayers was temporarily made public by the Internal Revenue Service, the agency announced on Friday. Confidential data from some forms of 990Ts, a business tax return used by tax-exempt organizations, was accessible to download on the IRS.gov's. Hold on. Sorry, I've been drinking. Had a burp. The IRS.gov's website search engine for about a year, the Wall Street Journal first reported. The agency blamed a human coding error that went under the radar for months until an employee recently noticed the mistake. The IRS is required to notify Congress of any incident involving more than 100,000 individuals under the Federal Information Security Modernization Act. Even one person is a fucking problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
The IRS took immediate steps to address the issue. Anna Ken Roth, the acting assistant secretary for management of the IRS, wrote in a letter to Congress on Friday. Taxpayer names and businesses' contact information are among the data that was inadvertently disclosed, Ross said, but sensitive data like Social Security numbers, income information, or other sensitive information that could impact a taxpayer's credit were not released. Full stop on the situation here. I'm going to call bullshit on that. If you can download anybody's information, for the IRS to know you as a person, they know you by your Social Security number.
Right.
For businesses, it's their employer identification number, which you can find the employer identification number for any fucking business. I mean, all you have to do is just know where to Google.
Mm-hmm.
But the IRS knows you yourself by your social security number. So to say I can download anybody's information, but social security numbers, no, they weren't released. Bullshit.
I'm curious to know exactly what 10, like the 990 groups, like which specific ones were they that were released inadvertently, quote unquote. Because I mean,
it doesn't go into to any detail about that. But
I'm kind of curious, is like, why not? Like, what specific, nonprofit organizations are they like, oh, we accidentally, I like how it says temporarily for months before it was discovered. That's interesting.
But to have that information go out there, and maybe that's why, there's it's not a promo or anything like that. That just came to my mind. Maybe that's why, like, there's I think it's hometitlelock.com or something like that. Maybe that's why they got an influx of business, because that information would be available in those tax reforms as far as that goes. But here's what the major concern is for me. Now, we all know about these 87,000 IRS agents that have been hired. They're being trained to use lethal force. And then this. Now, with cancel culture and everything, the internet doing what it does, the bullshit that people fucking pull, are you literally going to sit there and tell me that these agents wouldn't be after the people that have had this release because somebody fucks around and finds out?
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's... I think the IRS needs to go altogether. Like, they've done way too fucking much. And, with the $80 billion influx that Biden has put in that, you're going to sit there and tell me, okay, with the whole narrative is they're not going after anybody making less than $400,000. Okay. 87,000 new IRS agents. 2.8 million people in this country make over $400,000. You're going to tell me seven IRS agents are going to be needed for every person making over that, and that's every single person being audited. No.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Not buying it for a second.
Especially seeing as how they have training videos about going after a small landscaping business.
Yep.
Because that dude has a few vehicles that have gone unreported. You're going to sit there and tell me that these motherfuckers are going after the rich? No, I don't believe it. And you're releasing, whether it's a coding error or whether it was a thing, it's whatever. You're releasing this information to the general public. This scares the living fuck out of me. Because whose tax returns were they demanding? And then all of a sudden it was released by a leak?
Yep.
You notice how there seems to be a recent uptick I don't know, I can't think of a better word, but doxing of certain people?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my information's out there now because of TikTok, too.
Well, no. The California releasing all CWP.
Oh, yeah. The concealed carry.
Yep.
And now... So I would really like to know who was doxed.
No, actually, a friend of mine that lives in California, his name was actually put out there because he was on that concealed carry list. And since then, he's actually bought like a actual home security system too because of that.
Well, I mean, I have 8 cameras in my house for a different reason, but I also live in a stand your ground state too. So the whole doxing issue, I don't fucking care. The only thing I got to say about that is your best bet is to attack my house when nobody's here. But then again, you better hope that the police get you before I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because
definitely.
I'm not afraid of going to prison. But yeah.
Oh, no.
This is a serious issue. Now, the IRS has made a fuck ton of mistakes. You know, there are reports out there where, you know, the IRS has audited people and these people have gone to prison for like tax evasion and shit like that. Come to find out that the IRS fucked up their own shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And these people are still in prison for it.
Well, like, think back to when Obama was in office and how he utilized the IRS to go after the whole Tea Party movement.
Yeah. I can't hear you. You're a little bit too far away.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
Did it really?
Yeah. We were talking about that. Well, you know, we were getting set up here.
Well, there's that, but then there's the Obama Tea Party thing. Yep. That happened to me too.
As soon as you get a moment, tell us about that shit, because that's a fucked up story.
All right. So I have Obamacare. And, you know, the past many years of my life, my income has been the same. And so you know, how you pay for Obamacare, like, based on your taxes, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I'm trying to get dinner ready because I realized what time it was. So, in November of 2020, when I had to do my sign up for the marketplace, I didn't know that when my father passed, he left an IRA to my brother and I. I didn't find this out for another 6 months, or until April of 2021. Didn't even think when I found out about it, about Obamacare. Like, because we were paying taxes when we would take the distribution, a certain amount was withheld for federal and state. So I go to file my taxes this year for 2021, and they inform me that I owe them about $6,000 in clawback because of Obamacare. Because I'm not psychic. And then there's like an additional $4,000 that I don't know, but I've already talked to an accountant and a tax attorney who is a patriot, so I know he's cool, about the situation. And they were like, there's really not dick you can do about it. When I go and sign up for the marketplace in November, I have to obviously change my numbers and I'm going to have to pay more. But I owe now the IRS like $10,000.
Fuck.
Yeah. And I had to work out. At first, when I was filing my taxes, I wanted to file an extension because I thought maybe I was missing something when they said how much I was going to owe. And I was like, this can't be right. Like, in the past, you've been able to file an extension without having to prepay. When I went to file the extension on April 14th or 13th or whenever it was, whatever day I did it, they wanted me to give them $11,000 up front. And then if there was a mistake, they would pay me back.
And y'all motherfuckers think that they're not coming for you.
And I was like, no. I've never, because I used to have to file an extension every year because of a LLC thing, and there's a K-1 form you have to file, and a lot of times it would arrive after April 15th.
Right.
So I file an extension, and I would just file by October. I've never had to pay up front, ever, for an extension until this year.
Yeah, well, that's your president, ladies and gentlemen. That's the fascistic fucking look, everything that they said Trump was doing, that he is, this administration. It's the projection on that shit. And yeah, the fucked up situation with that. Now, you had mentioned that to me before we were talking about the show, or before we were getting set up for the show and everything. You had kind of gone into a little bit of detail about that. And the only thing that crossed my mind at that point in time was the little fund that my father had set up for me and my brother. Because he knew we was getting up age, and he knew we couldn't have done as much as he wanted to as a parent at that point in time. The things that he had done for us in the background, not knowing. What if he would have passed away in Biden's time? How much would that have fucked me? Because that would be income, like Relentless had here. That would be income that I never knew existed.
Yep.
And now I owe money for shit that I never knew was fucking there. And all of a sudden, because the way the IRS works, that could be tax evasion that I never knew existed. So, yeah. When they tell you they're only coming after the rich,
They lie.
oh yeah, they straight up lied. Let me ask you a question, though. Now, back in the past, the Democratic Party has always been about the working class people and everything like that. Who are they protecting now? Because it's not you.
Mm-mm.
They're going after you. They're going after the little people. They're going, the MAGA movement's the most dangerous, like the little presidential fucking speech that literally looked like a Hitler speech in real time.
Yep.
Anybody, any single person.
Party of the people. They have never given a fuck about the middle class or the lower class. They pretend to so they can get their votes. But again, this goes back to, do words match actions? What actions have Democrats historically performed? How have they acted in the lower and middle class's best interest? How have they acted? They continue. The term African American was coined by Jesse Jackson, right?
I believe so.
Not 100% sure, but
yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that.
They coin these phrases, they create these movements to perpetuate victimhood, and that they're their savior because they're all this, and they don't fucking act ever. Case
in point, the BLM movement of 2020. They were rioting and fucking up shit, and everything is included in that. Where are they now? I mean, BLM, as soon as Biden was put in office, BLM is like, hey, let's have a meeting. And the president said, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Not in those words, but yes.
But they even went and posted about that on Instagram, on Twitter. We reached out to the president and he refuses to have a sit down with us, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, that pawn got used. It's like, it's done and over with.
Right. Didn't y'all just see how that dude spent some bigwig in the BLM movement?
Oh, yeah.
All that money, $10 million on his own cush little lifestyle.
Yep.
Patrice Scholars? Is that who you're talking about?
The what?
Patrice Scholars?
Oh, let me double check.
I can't remember his.
No, this bitch has actually used Patrice Scholars has used a lot of BLM funds to buy houses because she says it's going to help them.
No, there's a dude.
No, there's another one. Oh, Shalomia Bowers is accused of. This I just made a video about this today. It's actually a BLM grassroots accuses BLM leader Shalomia Bowers of stealing $10 million. Bowers accuses BLM grassroots of racism. So what it is that was the same exact reaction I had too.
Holy! Wait! Go into this a little bit more. What the fuck? Hold on. How?
So basically, what it is within the last year, BLM's come under scrutiny of the IRS because of the massive amount of money they're having. Well, now they're starting to get that pressure from the IRS that they have literally $42 million in net assets that they're not doing anything with, but spending on more mansions, I think one of them bought spent $4 million. Well, I think it was like $40,000 on a dog or some shit.
Oh, Sean King, yes.
Yeah. Like all the shit like that. But now the one of the board members of the BLM International group, which is the parent group of the grassroots, is being accused of stealing $10 million. So the grassroots, which is the smaller organization, is going to sue them for the missing money. And literally, this was his statement that he gave back to them. They would rather take the same steps of our white oppressors and utilize the criminal legal system, which is propped up by white supremacy, than to solve a movement dispute amongst ourselves.
Holy shit, son!
Yeah.
Oh!
Talk about a narrative that has gone so far off the fucking rails.
Back, they're going to destroy each other. We don't even fucking do or say anything. They're doing it of themselves. They're
Me and you talked about that one day. I literally told you I would be perfectly fine if anyone on the center and the right just got completely banned off of all social media. We were not allowed on the internet or anything, because eventually that would turn the left into destroying themselves, because they have no one else left to blame but their own ignorance and stupidity.
And
Case in point.
And they love being victims. It's what they're good at. It's what they know. So they're just going to continue to play the victim card and fight each other. And then the whole thing's going to explode. I just threw garbage on.
All right, hold up. I've been drinking. I gotta pee. Keep this going, because this is fucking awesome. I have wireless headsets. I'm gonna hear all this shit. Keep this fucking going, because this is great.
Well, it's like, I mean, you think about like social media in general. I mean, for the most part, social media is extremely left-leaning. But if you want to actually like look at the worst of the worst when it comes to the left, go to Reddit and just read through some of the stuff that's on Reddit. I've subjected myself to that torture before. I've gone like looking through all these, like, they literally have Reddit boards specifically for like the non-pregnancy movement. Like, they're completely 100% anti-pregnancy. And so that's literally what all of the content is about. It's about, like, you know, supporting abortion and all this other stuff. And it's about how, like, even some go as far as saying that pregnancy should be outlawed. And it's like, it's just insane stuff. But once you go there and actually spend time looking through that shit, you will see evidence of them just eating themselves alive, because one of them will have a very slightly different opinion than the other, and then somebody attacks them, and then that person attacks back, and then every single one of them start going at each other like rabid dogs that haven't eaten in a week. And it's just, it's mayhem just to watch the chaos that they create themselves. It's crazy. It really is. It's like,
I'll be right back. Hold on. You guys keep
it's
talking.
like, it's like this. I mean, it's this specific thing with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, you go and you try to like have a conversation with any regular like left-leaning person on social media about it, and it's like, oh no, they're spending money on promoting the whole equality and pushing for police accountability and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, so you're ignoring the 3 mansions that they bought that are like $10 million a piece. Okay, that's cool. But then you get the founders themselves that are quarreling amongst each other and accusing each other of racism. That's going back to that whole, I tried to put myself in the mindset of that, and my brain just short circuits. I can't do it. I don't understand how you're being accused of stealing $10 million from the organization you're sitting on the board for, and when you get found out for it, you're going to claim, oh, so you just going to use all those white lawyers to come after me, right? Is that what you're going to do? It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. It's ridiculous. And I tried 7 times this morning when I read that article. I tried 7 times to make a video and upload it on TikTok. And every single time I would start laughing to the point that I started crying. And I had to stop and restart the video again. It took me probably 45 minutes to finally get that video made and uploaded. Because I just I couldn't hold it together. It's just the pure stupidity of it.
What is it? Isn't that like mutually assured destruction or something? Like they're just destroying themselves.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like look at what happened in Portland with Chaz when they set up that whole autonomous, zone. Well, they eventually started shooting one another because there was that black teenager that ended up getting shot and killed, and they went and tried to dump his body outside of Chaz so the police wouldn't have any reason to go in there and lock the place down.
Oh my God, I didn't even hear about this shit. But this is fucking epic.
I'm telling you, it's I don't get it. I do not get it. This whole playing the race card, playing the victim card is literally the only thing they have. And so even when you have, in this case, a group specifically for, supposedly specifically for promoting black lives and equality and justice and all that, accusing themselves of racism.
All because money came up missing.
Yep.
And he's being harassed.
And he's being harassed about it big time. Oh yeah.
It's kind of like
let's never mind the whole fact that none of these funds have ever been put into black communities. And that's never mind that. None of that. This has been the homes of the people buying up fucking homes of your leaders and shit. But God, dude, I got a broke rib and that just fucking hurt. All right. But it was worth it. It was fucking worth it.
I tell you, it's some of the shit. It's just like, if you ever want to really subject yourself to some like real torture, I don't know if you go to Reddit a lot, but go to Reddit and just watch them tear each other apart over there. Once you scroll through enough of the dumb, eggs are not vegan, but if you eat egg whites, it's perfectly fine. Any of that kind of stuff. If you get to the bottom of it, you get to the point to where they start like, well, you're an idiot for doing this. Well, you're a dumbass for doing this. And then they just start all attacking one another. It's just like, these people are so... It's literally chaos. I would be perfectly fine if all of us in the center and the right just said, you know what? Let's all agree to stop using social media. Just stop doing it. Because eventually you're going to get to the point where it's only the left on social media. The only other people they have to argue with will be themselves. Then eventually you'll get to the point to where there's only one person left on social media, and that might be Jack on Twitter still going, well, you know what? I still got my blue check mark account, even though I don't work for the company anymore.
Oh my god. No. To reinforce your whole thing there with that, Tim Pool responded to a tweet. There was somebody on there that was just that was saying this person's sick and they're in the hospital and everything because of COVID. And Tim Pool had just said, all he put was, "Well, thank God you're double boosted, or it'd have been worse." He had mentioned it, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way this has ever fucking happened. This can't be. And I looked at that tweet, and I'll be damned. Half of the replies to his were just, no, the vaccine is good because it had been worse. And Tim was just like, that's exactly what the fuck I just said, you asshole. And he's just like, if you weren't double boosted, it could have been worse. You could have already been dead. And everybody's like, well, yeah, no, the vaccines are good because if they weren't boosted, they could have been dead. And he's just like, I don't know what the fuck to do with y'all anymore. These have got to be bots. And there's no fucking way.
Yep.
But I looked that up. I was like, no. He has to be playing that up. There's no way. He has to be just making this shit up or just exacerbating the issue. No. Literally half of the replies to his shit were, no, the vaccines are good. If they'd have been double boosted, or if they weren't double boosted, it'd been worse. And that's exactly what the fuck he said. And I'm just, oh my God. And you're right, they do eat themselves alive. Because, like you said, who else do they have to fight with? When all of us are gone, when every single anybody that's not crazy ass left, when we're all fucking gone, what's left?
And they got to eat, and all they do is deal in emotions. They don't know how to deal in facts. And so you get a whole lot of irrational, emotive people. Think of like a drunken Thanksgiving Day family brawl. I mean, they're just going to fuck each other up.
See what's real fun? What's real fun is watching it when they start, playing the whole, well, I'm the most oppressed lottery. And they sit there and just start going back and forth about, well, you don't understand what it's like being a black female growing up in white America. And then somebody else come in, well, you don't know what it's like being a transgender male and stuck in a woman's body and growing up in a homophobic and transphobic America. And then another one will come in, well, you don't know what it's like being an alien from Area 51 that's growing up in a white oppressive colonized, it just keeps going. They just keep one-upping one another just consistently. It's just like, where does it end?
Meanwhile, we're sitting back looking at it like, y'all don't know what it's like to even look at a single one of you and just realize what the fuck happened to America.
And then you ask one of them, what is a Homo sapien? And they're like,
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that they're almost extinct.
No. What she's talking about, there's a video going around there of a guy just walking up to regular people and just being like, Homo sapiens are, they're under attack. They're almost an extinct race. What do you think about this? Not a single I'm sure they're like, they never do show the actual people that know what the fuck they're talking about. But every single person in that video is just like, I don't know what a Homo sapien is, but good. Let's get rid of them all. I'm just like, God damn.
Is she always outside?
I mean, I can understand if you like we were talking about before the show. I can understand if you don't know what was the Jesus.
Homo sapien.
No, the H2O thing that I had mentioned.
Oh, the scientific.
I'm blanking right now.
What's
But
that?
Monohydro friggin' dioxide or something like that.
I forget what it is. I'm drunk as shit, right? Like when you ask people those things, they'll say like, "Oh, that sounds dangerous. It's gonna kill. It's poison." No, motherfucker, that's water. I can understand that. Yeah, hydrogen monoxide.
Yep.
Yeah, like I can understand that because you don't call water dihydrogen monoxide. But goddamn, when you don't know what a Homo sapien is, you just hear homo and think something.
And you're sad that they're almost all extinct.
No. Well, we keep going the way we're going now. I mean, they might not be wrong.
Well, Cro-Magnon's coming back, apparently. That's a thing.
Yeah, God.
That's cool.
Oh my God.
We're going to go back to fire bad burns. That's going to be tweets. We're laughing about. Oh my God. Have y'all ever watched the movie Idiocracy?
Yes.
We are fucking living it.
We're there. We're absolutely there.
That was supposed to happen in 2505. Here it is, 2022, and we are there. You're going to start seeing Fuddruckers turn into butt fuckers very quickly.
Jesus. No, it does. When it comes to that kind of stuff, it just feels like society is taking so many steps back. It's like we said before. It's like we have the greatest advantage of having the most access to the world of information, and we just choose to just take the dumbest route possible and just ignore anything else to the contrary. It's like, oh, you don't want to Google something yourself, so you're just going to continue to believe that something you heard but somebody else say is true? Okay. I got it.
I mean, all you have to do is look at TikTok for that shit. But what?
My mom, you step on a crack, it'll break her back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even though I don't know where my mama is. I'm on a crack right now. She's probably dead. Oh, God damn it. But it's like I always say, stupidity is the real fucking pandemic of this planet. And a lot of people prove that. However, when you have the world's information in the palm of your hands and you refuse to use it, yeah, it's not the lack of the lack of access to information that is the problem as to why you are fucking stupid.
Laziness.
What's that? It's just the you have such like one big issue is people just have such a one directional mind. And it's like going back to the whole thing I was talking about my buddy before. Those kind of people, when they're sitting there bitching about a problem that has a very easy solution, and it's like you're trying to help them, but you would do better slamming your head into the brick wall to tear the wall down. You'd make more progress that way.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna get through, because goddamn son. I know a lot of people who Wrecking Ball ain't got shit on them. Yeah, it is a thing. And most of them are supposedly highly educated people. Okay. Oh, all right. So, damn, we are almost hitting that 3-hour mark. I've lost track of all time.
Fuck the IRS. We're going to hell in a handbasket, but it sure is entertaining.
All right. Hold up. We're going to go to final thoughts with all this shit. Once again, say it again.
Fuck the IRS, and we're all going to hell in a handbasket, but it sure is entertaining.
There you go. All right, what you got to say about this whole little Trump Mar-A-Lago documents situation?
Who, me or Art?
You.
Oh. I am really, really curious to know who the special master is going to be. And like we were discussing earlier, guilty people have everything to hide. People who live in truth are completely transparent. And if he is truly transparent, I think it would behoove him to have someone who is not completely and totally aligned with him, because it would say a lot more about his integrity and willingness to be completely transparent in that he's not participating in any kind of criminal stuff, for lack of a better term.
Okay. And what would you say for anybody going through domestic violence right now?
I would say that there is a way out, and it has to be when you are ready. Be very cautious of using social media and self-proclaimed advocates about who you come forward and trust, because there is a huge responsibility when you are an advocate. You are taking care of somebody else's life. They're putting their lives in your hands. So you have to be very careful. Watch someone's behavior on social media. Do their actions match their words? Confidentiality is a huge thing. Have they previously used victims for clout? That's a very popular thing. But don't be afraid to come forward, because you see so much toxicity. There are good advocates out there who do want to help. And if you don't feel safe doing it on social media, I know a lot of people don't. They have national hotlines. There are local nonprofit organizations that provide amazing support and resources. And it is possible to be free.
Okay. All right. Art? Final thoughts about the Mar-A-Lago document thing?
I think it's going to be interesting to find out exactly what parts, like which files the FBI took they were not allowed to take, and which parts of that are going to backfire just big time in their faces. And like I said before, I think it would be very good if somebody from like the center was the special master that got appointed to that, because having someone that's as unbiased as possible would make that better, not only just for Trump, but may even make it better for the FBI. Not saying I support the FBI in any way because of that shit, but having someone that is an actual unbiased third party would at least make those on the left feel like, okay, there's nothing else I can say about this, because that's not a Trump supporter making that determination.
All right. And IRS situation, what you got for that?
The IRS, I'm still very curious to find out. I'm gonna dig into it too, to see if maybe there's some information somewhere out there that of what 990 organizations accidentally got leaked out with all that information. Because after like even talking about the BLM thing, I'm beginning to wonder if maybe they might have also had some records get leaked out about that as well, since they're under heavy scrutiny of the IRS at current time.
All right. You got anything for anybody going through domestic violence at this point?
For domestic violence, I would have want to say first off, it ain't your fault. You're not the reason for the abuse, mental, physical, whatever, and you're feeling trapped is only a temporary feeling, and that eventually you will find a way to get out of that situation, and the grass is always going to be greener once you get out of it as well.
Okay. All right. My final thoughts. Look, the Mar-A-Lago incident has always been a shitstorm of stupidity from beginning to end. The fact that the man has, everybody's been like, oh, well, why won't he do this? Why won't he do that? Well, he's called your fucking bluff every time. He said release it. He said go through this. He said look at it. What y'all got now? The fact that this is the only sitting president who has ever been raided by the FBI, despite the shit behind Obama, despite the shit behind Clinton, Hillary Clinton. This is a dangerous, dangerous thing. And y'all literally ignore the fact that the same FBI team who investigated the Russian collusion hoax, who said straight up, yeah, we knew this was a lie from the beginning, but we investigated anyway, under Hillary's word, is the same FBI team that raided Mar-A-Lago. Y'all need to be asking questions. Y'all need to be literally on point with this, because somebody's covering something, and it ain't Trump. As far as the FBI or the IRS goes, goddamn, y'all don't understand everything that's happened with it. Well, if you pay your taxes, you're okay. Well, in Bunny's case, she supposedly had income that she never even knew about. Now she owes money to them. Those same 87,000 armed IRS agents, they're aimed at her. They're aimed at you. Because maybe your parents have set up something for you that you don't know. And now Biden wants a piece of that.
Even though I'm already paying the taxes on it.
Right.
They still want more.
Biden is aimed at you. This has nothing to do with the MAGA movement. This has nothing to do with Trump. This has nothing to do with anything other than they want your subjugation. They want you to remain stupid. Stupider than them, if that's possible. And I know stupider is not a word. It's supposed to be more stupid, but stupider than them. And if our press secretary has any bar that we set, son, we're in fucking trouble. Now, as far as domestic violence and that situation goes, look, I understand it. I get it. Men and women. At a certain point, it does come onto a responsibility of you yourself. How much can you take before you are the problem? I don't mean to make that sound bad. I really don't. But how long can you put yourself in that situation over and over and over again before you are the problem yourself? Don't be that problem. You can only be a victim for so long before you become the antagonizer in this whole situation. You don't have to take it. And just because you feel a certain way about somebody or a certain way about something, you don't have the funds or anything. I've been homeless. I know it. I know that feeling. I've been accused of things that I have never done just because of a reason. It's not on you. Get yourself out. Even if it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, guess what? It made you stronger.
Yeah.
It made you into a person that can stand on your own 2 feet. And I'll leave it there. I appreciate every single one of you guys, both Art and Relentless. I appreciate the hell out of both of you guys. I want you guys back on. This has been fun. I lost track of time. This has been fun. I appreciate the hell out of both of you guys. I thought a lot.
I enjoyed it.
I appreciate that. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with our sign off. You have a voice. It is important. Please sit down. Let's have a conversation. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all have a good night.